Okay. I do believe this thing is live and in living color. So, hey everybody. This is Dan with Mr.Truck TV. Just got to make sure everything is going smooth. Get everything plugged in. Let's see. Gotta see what is what on this son of a gun. Because this is the very first ever. Let's see. Can everybody hear me? Let's see. Testing. 1, 2. Go ahead and double check everything. Yep. Alright. Sorry for the technical delays, folks. Outstanding. Woo. Man, that camera is shaky. I'm testing everything out. It's kind of sitting up against there, so. Alright. Well, thanks for bearing with me on this thing. But we are actually on our way into Chicago right now. We're still in Indiana. We got about 6 miles to go. But we are on our way. Well, howdy ho there, Magnus. Nice to see you on here. Nice to see everybody on here. Now, first things first, we're not going to see the Bronco. They said spring 2020. And when it comes to the springtime, think of a month, any month. And to me, I think April. The two auto shows that I know of that are in that month are New York and Denver. Between those two, the one that's actually big enough to be considered probably worthy enough to release something that big would be New York. So if I'm going to put my money on anything, I'm going to put my money on it coming out around about New York. All right. Just the other day, Hyundai, I was watching TFL and they got a crossover there. It's a crossover truck. So I guess that means that the Honda Ridgeline is no longer the only front-wheel drive truck for non-truck people. So there's nothing really that I know of about it other than Hyundai's got a truck and it's called the Santa Fe. But here at the auto show, there's a very good chance that we're going to see something about that. Jeep is set to have an announcement about a special type of Jeep. No word on that, but between us, I'm pretty sure TFL's going to scoop everybody on that one. They're always pretty good about it. The 2021 GM lineup, I just read something about they're going to be releasing a Cadillac pretty soon, but they are all based on the very same platform. That platform is actually made in Arlington, Texas, and in the Tahoe video I did, actually could see some of the footage of all that being put together. It's pretty neat on those that jack them up 2 inches, slam them down 2 inches as part of their air suspension on there. I know on some of those they're going to have the magnetic ride for their sport handling models, and then the base models are just going to have the springs. And I've got a theory on those. My theory is the Tahoe is kind of your entry point. The very top line, top end Tahoe is the inside of that is going to look like a very base model GMC. In the Denali model, the inside looked a bit different. I think that the inside, the way that Denali looked, is going to be pretty similar to the way that the Cadillac is going to look. I know they're going to have that giant screen, but I think effectively the way the dash is going to look, the actual shape of it, is effectively going to be the same. Let's see. Yeah, Harold. Oh, it's me and myself, myself and I. But if you get me on a really weird day, I'm pretty sure I could come up with a couple. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Kind of cruising along. Did not have the ability to get over. Usually you want to go ahead and do. All right. Do any of y'all have any questions today as far as the show? What you want to see? Questions you might want to have asked? Things of that nature? No? Okay. Let's see. Doing some testing for this. This is probably going to be the first and the worst of all of the live shows. It's definitely going to be a learning experience. This is from based on what I could see of the camera. It wasn't amazing, but we're learning. As soon as I can get the new camera that I got figured out to do live streams, that's something I'm thinking about. Not 100% on that yet, so don't hold me to it quite there. Mr. Huffman, would a 7.3 gas dually be a bad truck? I don't think so. You figure that truck is, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you figure those trucks are rated pretty good and well. God, I want to say they're in the 20,000 pound category. So if you figure 20-ish thousand pounds on it with a 7.3, which is making over 400 foot-pounds from 1,500 RPM on all the way up into the peak, which I think is nearing the 460 foot-pound range. And then you got 400 horse engine. Combine that with the 10-speed, which has got a 4-to-1 first and triple overdrive. You could put yourself to 430 gear in there, and that sucker, man, that thing could pull down a brick shithouse factor for 11,000 pound camper. Oh hell yeah! It's like it's like going back to the good old days where you had the 460 big block. She's gonna drink some gas, but she's gonna haul ass. So yeah, I don't see why that'd be an issue at all. She'd probably be a little thirsty. The aerodynamics of the camper, that's probably gonna hurt you a little bit. But I watched a teardown of that 7.3 engine, and the effort that went into the durability of that engine it was phenomenal. The amount of cooling that's in there, they kind of cut a little relief in to actually provide good cooling for all the pistons, because not all the cylinders, because the bores are Siamese in the middle there, so they try to get some sort of cooling so they wouldn't have an issue. There's a nice hydraulic roller set up with there was some sort of coating on there that made them a bit more durable. So I don't see why that would be. I really truly believe that's going to be a great engine for a very long time to come. Yeah, I had me a 7.3. Actually, I had both 7.3s. I had a 1989 F250 Super Cab 8-foot bed, full-wheel drive, single rear wheel, 410 gear, ZF 542 5-speed manual transmission. And at that time, I never really, I think 12 is what I got mile to the gallon wise, but I wasn't doing too much with it. I think I had a camper top on the back. And when you wound that thing out, it sounded pretty good. The power stroke, I had a 96 model, crew cab short bed, four-wheel drive, single rear wheel. And nearing the end, it was everything I could do to try to get 12, but when I got it, it was a 16 mile to the gallon type truck. And that had the E4OD automatic in it. 410 gears on both. The nice difference between that 7.3, the old 7.3 diesel, and the 7.3W, for standing for Windsor, the gas 7.3, is gas is cheaper. You don't have a lot of the headaches that are associated with the diesel, as far as the increased cost of maintenance, the DEF, and all that nonsense. I know you got an old 7.3, so you don't have too much of an issue there, but you're also dealing with a truck that is over 20 years old at newest. Well, yeah, it's around about 20 years old at newest, so the wiring and everything is kind of getting worn. I don't know what year that you got there, but at newest it's a 2003 and a quarter, because 2003 and a quarter is when they brought out the 6.0. Oh, 96, sweet. I love the old body style Ford. I got a 95 crew cab long bed dually, two-wheel drive, sitting on a trailer at the house that said he's going to try to buy off me because he's looking for another project. May or may not have an automotive addiction. You know, not willing to admit that one yet. Yeah, really, really great engine. The only downside is things are getting old, and you have a cam sensor. Those things that go out every couple of years, and if it gets cold and any of the glow plug setup isn't 100%, it's not going to want to fire. But they really are great trucks. Yeah, Smith Jones there. It's unfortunate, but a lot of good trucks die that way. They wind up dying out, just sitting around doing nothing. I've got 12 vehicles at the house right now, and 9 of which actually run. And I gotta come every time I come home, which is here lately about once a month. It winds up being 12. I've got 12 vehicles at the house, and I gotta crank them up every time I come home. 2 of which are on the road. I've got my 19 Ranger, my wife's 2016 Toyota Camry. I know those are the daily drivers. I've got my 2017 Freightliner Cascadia. That's what I'm coming to you live in right now. 2007 Ford Fusion with a 5-speed stick. 2003 Ford Focus wagon. Love that little thing. It's like a little enclosed truck. Let's see, 1995 F350 crew cab long bed dually that's sitting on a trailer. 94 Dodge Ram 2500 12 valve Cummins in it. 94 F-150. It's a base model truck. That's actually a project for my daughter and I to fix up for her first truck. let's see what else is there. There's a 96 Freightliner FLD semi-tractor. That's the backup for the Cascadia. 1987 Ford Crown Victoria. 1983 Parts Mustang GT. And the oldest, I believe, is a 1980 Ford Mustang base model. Don't be too jelly there, Ron. The Mustang and the F350 don't run, but everything else, go out, crank it, and drive it down the road. But thankfully, only two are on the road, so that makes it a little bit easier to insure. Yes, sir, Ron. I said 1987 Ford Crown Vic. It's a LX model, white in color, red interior. It is like riding it's sitting on a very comfortable couch, riding on a cloud. That is what it's like to drive that car. Back to that. I want it back to the days where we rode down the road on a cloud. Yeah, they might not have handled the best, but I'm telling you right now, having the sportiest of sport cars out there isn't exactly my idea of a great time. The roads out here aren't amazing, and they keep getting worse. They try to fix them up, but you can only keep up so much. So if they go back to riding on a cloud, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Hey, Kent's in the comment section today. Magnus, the truck I'm in right now is a 2017 Freightliner Cascadia. It's the same truck that was in the video on TFL Truck last March with Andre of Dude I Love or Hate My Ride. Yeah, the old Tornado. Man, that was probably had to have been the weirdest car ever built at that time when it came out. I think like what, 66? It had the 455 big block, I think in there, with a turbo 400 that had a chain drive to convert it to actually drive the front wheels. Weirdest car ever. And then it turned into a front wheel drive thing, the same as the rest of the GM line up there by the 80s. Let's see. Yeah, Harold, I'm actually about 76,000 pounds gross right now. I've got to make a delivery in Des Plaines, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. But you actually got to drive into Chicago itself. I wouldn't say I got all the toys there, Ron. It's just been a lifetime of collection, and well, some could probably even call it hoarding. But as any good car guy knows, it's never hoarding. They all run, you know. Oh yeah. Well, how about that, Harold? Good deal. What kind of truck you got there, Harold? What kind of weights do you normally run? I tell you what, I'm actually really interested to see that, because that would be something else. I gotta say, as far as today, traffic has actually been pretty nice. I did want to wait to come in while the traffic was a little bit on the nicer side. Alrighty, how close are we getting? Can't quite see the Chicago skyline yet, but it will be soon enough. It's a little overcast today. That's one of the things I definitely want to kind of show off there. When you drive through on the interstate that I'm on, you'll actually drive right by where the Chicago White Sox play baseball. Nice. Absolutely nice there, Harold. That's definitely a nice truck for absolute sure. The 60 series, great engine. You know that. The 18 speed's great. I got a 13 in mine, but I always it seems like there's a gear missing in between what would be 4 and 5. Which on the 18th there's a gear. If you actually find yourself over in the high side of the transmission in the low gear, and you can then move the side splitter, you find that gear. But if you use that gear, there's no lubrication on that gear, and you blow up the transmission. So as much as I want to use it, you can't. Yeah, absolutely. How many miles you got on your Coronado there, Harold? And who built it? Yeah, definitely the ghost gear. Yeah, believe it or not, At 339,000 miles, so 39,000 miles after I made that video, I had a engine failure. The number 3 cylinder had a exhaust valve that hung up. It slapped into the piston, broke the head off. That head of the valve planed around in there, and I had just put on a new turbo and bigger exhaust manifold, a ported and polished exhaust manifold to be able to handle more power. And I had it dyno tuned and everything. I was running with a tune in there with no supporting parts for about a month. And the engine rejected it. I just think I had a bad part, but it cost about 20 grand to replace that in about a week worth of downtime. And then probably another 2 weeks of issues after the rebuild due to the fact that the cylinder head had a crack in it and fuel was just pouring into the oil, where I'd make about 4 gallons of oil in about 1,200 miles. The nice thing is that it cleaned the inside of the engine pretty good. The downside is I had $300 worth of oil change every 1,200 miles. 500,000, yeah, that's not bad. I got 430 on mine right now, so that would be, I'm coming up on about 100,000 on the in-frame. But I'm actually putting 515 horse and 1,760 foot-pounds of torque to the ground itself, and empty with a trailer, just power shifting, going as fast as I can to get to 60. I can do that in about 18.5 seconds. Yep, it's got a 302 in there, Ron. That's not even a high performance 302 that they had in the Mustang. It's in fact it's the low performance model. I think I only had like 180 horse when it was new, with a AOD 4-speed automatic behind it, and it's got a 308 gear. Yeah, Smith. I bet I could claim it. I got 1,795 billion horsepower and 300 bajillion foot-pounds of torque. I can pull Earth off its axis. Yeah. No, listen. I'm not going to be doing that nonsense. If I'm going to tell folks something, it's actually going to be what it really is, and not just some made-up number. Because I'm not trying to impress folks. That's a lie. That is an outright lie. I'm trying to impress folks, but not like that. Because if you're going to impress folks, tell them the truth. Because the truth is much more impressive than a lie if you do it right. Oh, gee. Hey, how about that? If you look way far off in the distance there, you see that skinny little tiny looking stick? Well, that just so happens to be the Sears Tower. So we are actually coming up into Chicago. Chicago. Well, well, Ron, that Vic, that's sitting at the house. So, the next time I go home, maybe I'll snap a picture of it and I'll put it on something, or maybe the next time I do a live show or we talk about stuff going on in the industry, maybe I'll do it from the house, and we'll do a walk around of all the junk I got lying around the house. The irony is, whoa. What in the world? So you're looking at pavement, huh? What in the world is this? Oh, that's, wow, okay, so that's VR. Looking at the pavement, huh? Let's see. That row. Maybe it's one of those ones where you got to move your phone around or to look at that there, Harold. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's saying VR. No, that's just weird. Yeah, like I said, trying to figure everything out here. This will probably wind up being the worst one of all of that. Ron, you being in Canada and everything, I got a feeling every old vehicle that you see had probably been rotted out by then. See, I grew up in Buffalo, so when it comes to wintertime driving, it's more the driving sideways. But unfortunately, everything rots out. It's really sad. You see something really cool, really awesome, and then it turns into a complete and total shit show. Everything rots out, and by the time you can do something with it, in a garage or you can save it, they stop making parts for it, and then it's just junk. It ain't worth it no more. Then it just becomes a winter beater, and then if you got a safety thing and if I've completely forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, if you got any safety type inspections in your area, after a while, it just gets so bad you can't do it no more. Let's see something here. Alright, apparently I can change the camera angle back at me. Alright. Well, I appreciate the nice words there, guys. If we can figure it out just a little bit nicer, then as we go on and get a little bit fancier and fancier, I'm actually using my old phone that I use as a backup logbook. So if anything happens to my phone, or if I got to hand it off to a DOT guy, then I'll actually hand him this phone that I'm actually using to shoot everything. That way I'm not screwing up any privacy that I have. They can go through, they can look at the logbook, they can inspect everything as they need to, but I'm not compromising anything that I'm doing. So y'all can actually see me then? Alright, I'm gonna hit the button, I'm gonna turn it around, see if we can actually got the skyline there. Who knows, maybe it's gotta be like this where you move your phone around, or I'm not 100% sure. I just kind of went to hitting buttons. Let's see. Oh boy. Sometimes you get driving and you got to start talking about stuff, and you got to pay attention just long enough to figure out what's going on. All right. Well, now what's that there, Magnus? The driver look online. I don't know what that is. The way most people have to do it nowadays, there's an electronic log device that's hooked up into the truck. If you have a 1999 or older engine in your vehicle, then you are actually able to be electronic log exempt. And what that'll do is it's basically mean you can run paper. And the system that I use is you can actually use the electronic log as an electronic paper. So you've got the convenience of electronic while still having everything connected, just like it, not connected to anything like with paper. Yeah, it's now the logbooks and the electronic, you can actually, they're actually hooked up to where you can see what's going on from the office. So yeah, they can be viewed and edited remotely by the office, but not by the driver. Really? You had a cat scale truck? That's cool. Now, I will say, the only thing bad I've ever got to say about a Coronado is that the cab from the windows back is the same thing as driving a Century, a Columbia, an Argosy. They're all the same. So you don't get quite as good as sound insulation as you would in the Cascadia. And the dash, after so long, it's my understanding that they practically turn to dust. Because, yeah, it's something about the plastic that they made back then. It was terrible. Well, Ron, you might want to buy that Vic, but I tell you what, transmission is no good. You got one. When you drive it, you drop it in gear. You actually got to put it in drive, because if you put it in overdrive, it'll neutral out when it hits fourth. But it feels like you start off in first. It's almost like second and fourth don't exist anymore. So the transmission's got to be pulled out and rebuilt. But other than that, it's a pretty good and solid car. Yeah. Yes. Again, nothing against the Coronado. It's the updated version of what the Freightliner Classic was, which was an FLD. The dash and all that was definitely older, a lot older school, but it was it's definitely a neat truck. They went to the Coronado and it looks swoopy, looks really nice. It's a beautiful looking truck. It's just not quite as well built as they used to be. And okay. Alright, well, it looks like we are getting into some of Chicago's traffic. We're actually in Chicago now. If we could actually see what's going on, and not just looking at the pavement. If you look off to the right, there's the Sears Tower. So we're actually getting into Chicago itself. You know, I have no idea if there's any Swedish restaurants. I usually just drive through, try to get around the traffic when it's not a total pain in the arse, and then go about my business and be on my way. The auto show itself is, from my current position, it's at McCormick Place Convention Center, I believe. And that would be to the southeast of me right now. I think I just saw someone on here. Good try, baby. Good try. My wife has joined the chat. So, I feel obligatory in saying, baby! Baby! Because if we're out and about and we're trying to find each other, we'll say that out loud, wherever we're at, to be able to find one another. Well, Ron, this is a first, so we're seeing how this goes. It'll probably come out as a video that you can watch later, same as everything else. And believe it or not, we've been going for about 30 minutes so far, and I know that's what TFL kind of tries to stick to. And all right. Harold, there, a lot of the videos that come out are done by Kent, aka Mr.BigTruck, and the contribution that I bring is all of the thumbnails. I'll get a picture from him, and I'll edit it up, throw a title on there, make it look as pretty as I can, so that way everyone will actually click on it to watch it. But most of the truck ones where you see me, the videos that you actually see me in, those are the ones that I do up and edit. Everything else is, all the other videos are pretty much done by Kent, and then I just throw a little extra on there. Then the only exception to that would be the AT4 video, because there was an issue with his computer at the time, so I just threw it on my phone and whipped it together for y'all. Well, Ron, I appreciate you tuning in. You're between this and TFL, I'd say you definitely get around for the live shows. Well, gentlemen, I'm getting into a portion of Chicago that's going to require a bit more of my attention. And I'm going to have to bid all of you a goodbye for the moment. Won't be too long. And we'll have some news for you, hopefully starting tomorrow. About 1:30 is when they have the first event at the show. Thursday is the actual first day of the real media days. So Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday the 8th, it is then open to the general public. So, with all that said, I'm gonna go back afterwards, see how this worked out, and maybe have to do a little bit different in the future as far as try a different camera. So y'all have a great day, be safe, and we'll catch you on the flip. Bye-bye.